Hello, yes, it's Salah Nasri here, and yes, I have a special announcement. The game of chips has just hit 5,000 orders on Amazon. Thank you to everyone who placed the order. The book was just released in December, so I'm very, very grateful and surprised to date. If you are someone who is intrigued, curious about how the semiconductor ecosystem works from beginning to where we are right now, this book was written with you in mind. So order it, read it, and it is pretty much a handbook of the whole ecosystem. In the meantime, enjoy the next episode and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. The game's changed. What's your perspective on that as a whole?
Design is one area which is very crucial. It is a game changer for the semiconductor sector. Okay, you need somebody to envision something, then build, and then go to the market. The biggest question what I ask them is, what is the return of investments?
Boltchip is a Singapore-based consulting firm enabling global semiconductor companies build and scale innovation capability centers with speed and intent. With a sharp focus on AI-enabled engineering, Boltchip's Bolt model goes beyond hiring to create execution-ready capability ecosystems.
The firm is led by managing partner Deven Haria, whose journey spans hands-on instrumentation engineering, building startups in stock exchange automation, and decades of leadership hiring across Asia, bringing a rare and powerful blend of technical credibility and strategic insight to the semiconductor world.
Now even the brands who are using the XYZs are now building their own chips. Cost is there, but cost always goes in the background. It's the innovation because it has a tenfold effect on the economy once it explodes, And we're still dependent on the ASMLs and the TSMCs. China would be back. So I think that these are the two big revolutions still to happen. What is the ROI behind setting? What first taught me is, the most complex animal in the world is a human being. Security is very, very crucial if you look at a non-negotiable factor for the semiconductor area. Sandbox.
Why is that the case?
I don't think so.
Hello and welcome back to the Semiconductor Leadership Podcast. I'm your host, Salah Nasri, and whether you are a semiconductor veteran or someone who's just curious about semiconductor manufacturing, this is your podcast. In a very short time, we've looked at the analytics. We've hit more than 200,000 views. But the frustrating part, when I look at the back end, only 3% of you watching this show is subscribed to the platform. So I ask you a sincere favor, hit that subscribe button. We are on Spotify, on YouTube, and Apple Podcast. The more subscribers you get, the more I will promise that I'll make sure I'll be consistent in bringing great guests like the guests that we have today. So, ladies and gentlemen, greetings from Singapore. Here I am with Deven Haria, the managing partner of Boltchip. Deven, great to have you here.
Morning, Salah. It's my pleasure and honor to be in front of you. Person so young, not even 40, and is the hyperlink to the world when you talk about semiconductors. So, Salah, it's a great achievement for you to achieve, for people like us to come across and spread the kind of knowledge, whatever we have. But at the same time, for viewers like me, I am a viewer to your podcast. We learn a lot from your podcast. Yeah. So
thank you, Deven.
It's a pleasure and an honor to be with you.
Yeah. Thank you, Deven. Deven, run through with me. I'm intrigued to know what your perspectives are of semiconductor manufacturing today. We are going through so many cycles. We've seen so many cycles coming through, from the changes that not even one can say 100 years ago, but only 10 years ago or 5 years ago, companies are making their own chips. It's a different world. I mean, who would have imagined that a Tesla would want to make its own chip? Microsoft or Google and etc. The game's changed. What's your perspectives on that as a whole?
Yes. So what I personally feel is that people want to be close to the consumer. Okay. People want to deliver. People want to be a differentiator. People want to be more efficient. And probably semiconductor is the horizontal to all the kind of industries today. Okay. So probably you say a car or you say a computer, there was only a couple of chips in the computers. Now even the brands who are using the XYZs are now building their own chips. So I feel the game changer is going to be when these LLMs are going to be ISIG based and specific to a problem. And this is where the future is. Today we are talking about generative AIs.
Right.
Specific LLMs to cancer, specific LLM to healthcare, specific LLM to a consumer sector. This is the near future which comes across with it. Secondly, the big thing change, what I feel will be in quantum with photonics. This is another big area because data is exploding. Okay. And this is one big area still to come across. It's much more R&D on all, it's much more on the European side and somewhat in the US side, but slowly it's coming up in Asia also. These are the two big revolutions still to happen across. And of course, the 1.6 nanometers and all, and we're still dependent on the ASMLs and the TSMCs. So from my perspective, I don't know how far it will go across, but probably China, I don't know how much far China is behind, but probably...
They're catching up very fast.
Yeah, China would be back. So these challenges for Asia are more opportunities to develop, innovate, be a differentiator, be more efficient.
Yeah.
These are the game changers, yeah.
So, Deven, where does Boltchip, your company, play the role in this?
So we help organizations to build innovation capability centers. Yeah.
What does that mean?
So it means is that organizations are trying to create their own backbone of technology.
Okay.
Rather than being dependent. The core functions, they want to develop on their own. They want to preserve the IPs because that is very close to their subject, their products, what they are building upon. And they don't want to be dependent on a third party who goes away with the IP or the knowledge, know-how. And the non-core functions, probably they are not, they can outsource. So this is one of the game changers what has happened across. So initially it was the ODCs, the offshore development centers, the captive centers, the GCCs. ICCs are purely, we are trying to build R&D centers for organizations, which are going to be the backbone of organizations. Yeah. So in semiconductor, if you look across is the upstream, the midstream and the downstream, design is one area which is very crucial. It is a game changer for the semiconductor sector. Okay. It doesn't have that capex or opex, but basically you need risk capital. Okay. You need somebody to envision something, then build and then go to the market. Okay. That envision comes across from a nation, come across from the industry, comes across from the professionals, comes across from the academia. So these are all, I feel, today if you see when government pops into it, then probably everybody's aligned. The energy levels are very different. So I look upon it, Boltchip, we envisioned Boltchip a year ago. And when we're looking at the Singapore ecosystem, I said Singapore has practically everything. They have the fabs, they have the ATMT, they have everything is there, the neutrality, the ecosystem, the trust, the efficiency. But there are not enough IPs being built around. What's the reason for that? And the one question comes is Singapore is too expensive. Okay. So even California is expensive. California builds nearly technologies for the world. So why that expense comes? And when you're talking about innovation, cost is there, but cost always goes in the background. It's the innovation because it has a tenfold effect on the economy once it explodes. So that's what I'm talking about, the innovation. Today, I feel Asia has got lot of amount of opportunities to scale upon Okay, in any area, it could be chemicals, gases, engineering. But per se, when it comes to Singapore ecosystem, this is the right time if Singapore takes across the design phase, starts building their own ICs, start building their own IPs, and for which possibly, if you look at the countries, if you look at majority of the countries, the US, the Singapore, all have had that immigrant talents. And by virtue of immigrant talent, the ecosystem moved in a very different way, Yeah. And now it's going into silos, but I feel if given a chance across, that this is an opportunity what Singapore should not miss across, build their own IPs, bring in talents, probably homegrown talents. If you don't have enough, get external talents, but build IPs. So at Boltchip, what we try to do, we help these organizations to build, co-create IPs. So Boltchip is a platform, you can say, where probably we cut across our alliances or partnerships, strong partners ecosystem which we have, who have IPs, who have the engineering efficiencies in the RF, in the analog space, in the packaging space, in the digital space, in the NOC space. We are getting them along. We are horizontal and we are touching each other, and that's what we want to give to our customers. What we feel today is time is a very important parameter if you want to roll out something. And that's where Boltchip comes as a partner to help you to co-create IPs. Okay. And there can be varied business models we can resonate across and build across the IP with our partner ecosystem. But I went to one of your articles, Salah, and you talked about supply chain, and you used the word collaboration today.
Yes.
Okay. And such a complex word of semiconductor. I talk about the similar, which probably is not heard because it's a very secretive industry, semiconductors. So what I feel across is that probably this is the right time that we collaborate to build something where an organization doesn't have enough capacity. So if you look at it, there are two types of IPs. One is the core IP, one is the non-core IP. Core IP, I believe sometimes organizations won't want to disclose much, but there are non-core IPs which can be a core IP for an industry, for an organization in coming times. These non-core IPs, probably they don't have the funding, okay, or probably they don't have the vision, okay, but they want to start across it with it. And that is where Boltchip comes across, that we help you to start with that, build something, and probably from there it comes into a reality, it comes into fruition, and probably you rake in millions or billions of dollars. That is Boltchip, a platform. Boltchip could be a platform for an engineering company who wants to set up an engineering center, okay, an innovation center. So the challenge today, what I see across is people are building their capability centers, and at the end of the day, the biggest question what I ask them is, what is the return of investments? What is the ROI behind setting this? Sometimes the answer, I don't get the right answers. Sometimes they feel we want to create something in AI, and AI is a very, very broad word, okay? What I talk to organizations upon is that, do we have a roadmap for a 3-year strategy, that what you want to be, what IPs you want to build in? Okay. Right. How many people, how many talent you want to utilize into this? And at the end of the day, what transformation you want to it, by virtue of which we can give you a cost arbitrage, or probably we can create this into an ROI. So what we see is till today, how organizations are functioning, their function is like a JD, okay? This is the talent what I require, and people start working across it. And there is stark augmentation. This is what I have, so this is the only thing what I have. Innovation doesn't happen in this manner. Innovation, you need to pick up, you need to understand the strategy, you need to sit with them, you need to build a research and advisory, what talents are available in a particular geography. You need to do an arbitrage across locations. That's where you build upon something. So these talents would not be available in nook or corner, or available in a couple of days of time. These talents has to come on a platform, on a vision, where they have a vision, you have a vision to co-create something. And this was, as you rightly said, no Meta, no Google. They were 5 years down the line, no one was building their chips. Now today, Tesla builds its own chip. And even for computers, much more of the largest of the brands, they're dividing on some 1 or 2 or 5 or 6 manufacturers. Now each of these manufacturers, these brands are co-creating because they want to bring the perfection. Probably they have a certain vision, they want to take it to the customer. And this all comes across when you start building an innovation capability center. What the difference, what you've done at Boltchip is, we tell clients that we are your internal partners and we will transfer this. So we are helping them create a digital twin. Their own organization being put across. And this could be a great factor, building something, retaining something. It should not be something, oh, these are not my employees. But today, when you look at your innovation capability centers, you should consider these are the part of your own team. That's what we are trying to build. So I would say, if you look at it, it's a mindset change.
Yeah.
That when you're building an internal team, you're transferring the team. So most of the organizations only build and operate. We are operating on build, operate, learn, transform, and transfer. So this is probably this mindset we want to get into organizations to build upon from here, create great innovation capability centers. And probably you will, so we are working with one organization, one US organization, they want to work closely with China. So they are creating an innovation capability center, not in the neighboring country, it is in Singapore. We are creating a 15-member design capability team for them in Singapore, which is because people talk about cost. And when innovation comes about it, but it goes in the background. When we are talk about innovation, so we are talking innovation, we are talking not only from an organization, we are talking from a geography point of view, we are talking from a country perspective point of view. There are 10x factors when you create innovation.
Right.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, what does Boltchip stand for?
So
How did that name come up?
So chip.
Yeah, it's Chip.
Yeah, chip. So when we were looking out for a name, we saw that what are the organizations doing across? They are building, they are operating. So we bought the learning element is very important.
Building, operating, learning.
So learning, unlearning is a part and parcel of, you don't learn or unlearn, probably you're outdated as an individual, as an organization. Okay. The T was the transfer, but we were the transformation piece. And that is what the strategy we sit across with clients today or organizations. We talk to them, what is your strategy for 3 years or 5 years down the line? Okay. What are you building for? What is the return of investments? So they talk, we want to build AI capabilities around. And today AI is such a big word that probably everybody talks about it, but you are not able to bring the capabilities or ROI about it. It's just not sitting on ChatGPT and building something. So the transformation piece was there, that we sit with clients and we try to see is how efficient we can make the process. Can we help to make ROI possible, making efficiency around people? Okay. So an organization would say this 300 people, can we make it to 200?
Right.
Or probably can we have this 100 people can be put into some new activity or something? So that was the transformation piece. And that's the reason the whole concept of Boltchip came across.
I see. So which aspects of your career or background allows you to almost shape how you design, build, and operate high-performance technical environments?
So it goes back to 1988 when I graduated from, I was the first batch of Mumbai University instrumentation engineers. And instrumentation, that was being the first batch, everybody had an aspiration for electronics and computers. Okay. So we were just 6 students who graduated from the batch of 66. Okay. And I got to do a project with BRC in robotics, in DRHR department, Department of Remote Handling and Robotics. And last week I went to an exhibition in Singapore and I saw the robots and I went back to those my days, so ahead of time. So if you look at it, even if you look at it, India, they had a fab in 1984.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So, and see, today 40 years has gone back. Similar thing happened. I was questioned, in India, there are enough people to pick up the load. Why you need robots? So, of course, these robots were used in the atomic energy center. They were picking up the uranium pellets and all those. But they said what these huge robots would do. I don't know. I had a fascination, but it was a combination of mechatronics, that's mechanical, electrical, electronics, instrumentation. So I got into process automation. I've been an entrepreneur. So I've just worked for 3 months in my life for somebody else. So going back from the robotic days, I built upon an automation system in weighing. So this was done for Fortune 500 Indian Oil in their Kochi plant. We built an automation system which is patented as RALF, remote automatic LPG filling system. So we provided the electronics for the same. And per day, 700 gas cylinders. The cylinders, earlier gas used to come in cylinders in India. Now it is a pipe gas. So these cylinders was a shortage. And that was the first plant in India where cylinders were doing automated. And in one shift, we were able to fill 700. In the entire day, there were 2,100 cylinders done automatically. So the electronics for that weighing system, the flame proofs and all those, that entire system, the gas gets filled, it gets cut off. So that was provided by us. So that was my second phase. So you look at it, the robotics, the innovation part of it. And the third came, I pivoted into software. So from an embedded part of it, we're working on 8085. In 91, I worked on Intel 8051, the first microcontroller.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So currently, if you look at it, it's the 3nm, the 1.6 nm from an 28 nm. Our objective that time was that can we reduce the PCB size? And that's where we ejected out the 8085. You can say that time it was a system on chip for us, the ROMs and everything inside it, the 8051. We made the board much more smaller, so make it more efficient, made it less defective. Yeah. So that was one of the phase, the thought process. So when I got into software, that time there was an automation of stock exchanges happening across in India. So so I co-founded this company which went into unicorn. It's still listed it's listed on the stock exchanges. And I was there for 3 years. Okay, we built the entire system. So we built the entire online trading system. So the exchanges were online.
Yeah.
The Bombay Stock Exchange and the National Stock Exchange that time. But then we brought the entire broker mass to the sub-broker mass, okay, to the investor, all onto one platform. So probably that time the first phase was there that everybody used to come to stock exchange to work. And that time it went as work from home. So that is one of the phase. So that was again innovation ahead of time. Robotics, what we built the LPG filling system and we built this particular system. So the first 10 years of my career has gone into the automation phase. Then came a phase that probably I looked at it that is enough. Sometimes you feel it's how much more money, okay, or probably you feel it's 10 years has been all in creating something, in coding and all those. Let's see the different part of the world. So I was very good at connecting with human beings, people. So probably, so that got me into the search business. And
this is like recruitment, right?
Recruitment, but
high level or just general?
So it started with generic, but I got into high level. I became a part of a global group. Okay, it was headquartered in Germany. And from there, it got me to Singapore because I wanted to explore upon. And an organization called me out over here to build a team. Okay, so I worked across 12 countries from here. Most of the countries I visited. So it's now not a cultural shock to me when I visit Thailand or China or Hong Kong or Australia or Philippines, Thailand, Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia, India. So what it taught me is, so none of the interviews, all interviews were physical. At the most, it goes on Zoom or an online. If the professional is not available, it's very far off. But I've never been onto a Zoom call without my camera being on. Okay. So I tell the world that I want to show my face to you rather than you showing me the face. First, I want to build that confidence. What search taught me is the most complex animal in the world is a human being. And the most precious to a human being or a professional is his salary details. How you take out, how you vomit out that professionally. That's very important. How you become close, how you get into their culture rather than you expecting them to come into their culture. That taught me across. Thailand, Japan, these are very, very crucial countries of their cultures. How to move aligned to their perspective is very important. So that went across, and I came across the semiconductor sector with the same. But then I thought, when I looked into it, I said, these are the components which are missing in the semiconductor sector. A lot of things is become secretive, so it's become a silo. Okay. Can we help them to create these centers? Can we help create IPs? Can we help create IPs in a collaborative manner? And that was the whole objective of Boltchip. Because what I've seen is these technical folks spread across the globe. So they do not have that commercial mindset. And they are in one corner doing fantastic things. I have a company now in Singapore. They are and none of their clients are Singaporean clients. Okay? Being a Singapore company, and they do packaging. They did a 3D packaging for a Chinese company recently. Okay? Phenomenal work they do with less than a 5-member team. Less than a 5-member team. They are my partners. Okay. So what search taught me is how you build trust among human beings.
Right.
Because people speak to you or people connect with you, it is on the basis of trust. And you embody that trust and you build relationship both. You become a bridge between the client and the professional layer. So that envisioned me to get into this, get into a collaborative platform. We have started talking to a couple of companies. We are building an analog team for a client. Yeah. We are building an ICC for our client, a 15-member team out over here in Singapore, which is okay. And we are talking to an engineering company to build an innovation center. Of course, there's a question mark where. That's where they have roped in us into build up where. Yeah.
So for the listeners new to Boltchip, what bottlenecks do ICCs remove for semiconductor and AI companies out there, and who benefits the most?
So, of course, the beneficiary is, of course, the organization, because through an ICC, there's a rapid development. Okay. What we have seen across is when you do an effective, you sit, when you're building an innovation center, you're sitting very closely with the hiring managers, with the strategy team, because either you're building an engineering team for them, you're building an entire engineering center for them, or you're building a second hub for them. Yeah. Okay. When you're doing this, the biggest beneficiary would be the organizations. What we are trying to help them out is, of course, design, which is one very crucial element. How we together we can build up an IP, how we can be an internal team, we can get in our partners, we can get in IPs, and we can do a faster development. So that's one of the areas which the biggest beneficiary is innovation. I would say at the end of the day, return of investment, which has been an overlooked factor when people are trying to create some fantasy around AI. And today, the difficulty is, if you ask organizations, what is the return of investment in AI? And that's a very, very difficult question to answer. Yeah. So we are helping those organizations to work on the return of investments, whatever the capabilities they're building across. Yeah.
So what would be interesting to clarify is how does building the next generation of ICCs translate into concrete choices in, let's say, site selection, architecture, and service tiers?
Yeah. So it starts with research and advisory when we sit with the strategy people to look upon the design and the discovery part.
Okay.
To the locational analysis, to building an organization strategy, to the compensation benchmarks across what's your competitor doing, what are the talent insights, to building the architecture. Okay. So when you say architecture now, it's very complex in the semiconductor industry. That's where you align with a lot of your confidential partners, where you bring across a lot of value-added systems onto the plate. Okay. Then comes the learning part, comes the transformation piece. This transformation piece is very, very important, and so what we are trying to do with this platform of Boltchip is basically, it's a one point of connect, whereby you are availing all the services. You build a relationship with the client. You build a trust with the client, and then you have a set of partners on the basis of the trust you are delivering to them. And of course, it's outcome based, it's KPI based. You are just not delivering, or you're not just delivering on a JD. You're delivering on a KPI. This is the biggest differentiator, because for us, we want our client to deliver something. So everybody is on an outcome base. For our partners, ourselves, what we are committing is outcomes. Yeah.
So, if you could walk us through the cycle. You have the design, then you have the build, operate, and then where is relevant, the transfer. Where do these organizations, for example, see the biggest time to value jump?
So great question. So there are, there are multiple sets of organization. If you look at it, organization who have already set up a GCC
Okay.
or a ICC or an innovation capability hub. Okay. The next level where they want to move across is possibly they want to scale.
Yeah.
They want to be more efficient or they want to be more matured. Okay. Now, it depends which are the areas they want to go. It could be an engineering client. It could be a design organization. Okay. What we have seen with respect to very large organizations, some of the things they already have in-house. Okay. So some of the things we don't want to deliver it to them. So for them in the semiconductor space, what we feel is more vital is the design element. That's a crucial, the IP creation element, which is very crucial. Second is the transformation piece, which is very crucial in this. So I would say if you look at the three very important elements in this piece, which comes across is the advisory piece, okay, the build piece, the innovative talent, getting those light-minded talent, and the transformation piece. These three elements are very important, vital. For an organization who's absolutely new, okay, we offer the services from, so we have a partner services, so right from the research part to the build part to the workspace strategy to the talent to the learning part and to the transformation till the transfer part. And the transfer part is very, very important. This is because today when you spend so much money, energy in building an innovation capability centers, probably you want every piece of data, every piece of knowledge to be transferred back. And that's where under this roof we encompass a digital twin for the client. So it's vis-a-vis like a twin working across into their organization, which exactly fits into their culture when they want to transfer.
So what would you say are the non-negotiables for, let's say, an ICC? Is it the facility specs, the tools, infrastructure, data platforms, or security?
So security is very, very crucial if you look at a non-negotiable factor for the semiconductor areas, sandbox. When you go to an engineering company, security sandbox are really very important. But when you're looking at a design, it's a non-negotiable factor, security. Secondly, when you're trying to create an internal system for the client, it's vis-a-vis, it's the entire, it's run by us, it's built by us, it's operated by us, but it's going to be transferred. Okay. So every element of data is a replica out over there which goes in the system. So I would say the non-negotiable factor, the most important factor would be the security.
And what would you say are the capabilities? I mean, what capabilities do you stand up most often? I mean, is it the design enablement? Is it verification? Is it DFT? Is it packaging or post-silicon?
So I feel the current biggest challenge, if you look for organizations, is the creation of the IPs. Okay.
And this can be applied on all of it.
Yeah. So you can say, if you look at it from a top view, you say right from the specs to the logic till the physical design and the verification part of it. But if you try to break this into this in the current ecosystem, some of the things are stack augmentation because that is non-core to the organization. So the industry works that way. Okay. So some of the things are going to be because the verification especially is much more stack augmentation. Okay. If you look at the core element is the design phase, the design with respect to the architecture, what they want to create across with it. So if you look at the entire pieces, we are emphasizing on talents which are innovative.
Yeah.
We are emphasizing on the capability center to be developed across. It could be a combination of these talents. So I give you an example. We have capabilities in packaging. Now, software in packaging is not that heard about it. You need 1 to 3 or maximum 5 professionals for that. But these are very rare people. And if you see the DV part of it, you need hundreds. Okay. So each element has is difference of importance. Each element, there's an ecosystem already existing. Okay. So personally, if you ask me, when an organization talks to me about design, and again you break up into it, the core design is a very important element which helps in building that IP. Yeah, that's the very core.
What I really find intriguing is if you look at the ecosystem here in Singapore, from the semiconductor standpoint of view, there aren't many local Singaporean companies.
There aren't.
Yeah,
and that's what...
I mean, you look at you got the SSMC from a foundry point of view, but that's pretty much NXP and TSMC owned. But, and even if you look at the ecosystem, yeah, there's an OSAT here. Yes, there's a couple of foundries, pretty much international foundries, IDMs as well, I would say. Design houses. And there's not... I can't think of a local design house.
Not many, and probably...
Why is that the case? I mean, especially you're pushing the IP element. For me, I mean, you talk about IP. I mean, the cool players would be the design houses because that's what they do a lot, right? Why is that? Have you ever pondered on that? Why is that the case?
Why is the case that they're not homegrown?
Yeah.
Okay, so... probably that's a very great question because a year before, that's a question where I asked a lot of people in one of the SSI meets.
Right.
Okay. And I didn't get the right answer, but the answer came across, the cost is very high in living in Singapore. Cost.
Yeah, but so is Santa Clara. I said the Bay Area.
So that was my question, that you have the entire ecosystem.
Yeah.
You are a neutral country.
Yes.
You have the best IP governance.
Yes.
You have the entire ecosystem from the foundry to the OSAT to the ATMP.
All the way through.
Okay.
The best of the best, actually.
The best. When you are creating an IP, you need just an office space. Okay. And the most important is Singapore has a trust system with both the two elephants in the room. Okay. So if you look at it, I feel me coming across is one of the important that this entire ecosystem, this is the right time to do it, or else your neighbors have the available with them. They will. I would put it across that you need an cost arbitrage. Nowhere when you say the silos are all in one location. What I mean to say is silos will be spread across, something coming from XYZ. But as an organization, if you're trying to build the core design base out over here, probably the testing takes place somewhere else. But the core element of the design, when you're close to the foundry, you have an added advantage. Why it's not happening is a question mark, and that's the reason Boltchip is born. We are talking to clients, we are talking to organizations, we are talking to government, we are talking with SSI, that is the government, there's a face to the government. And when I was talking to V-Seng, he said this is the right moment for us because there's a challenge created, there is going to be an opportunity out over here. So I feel probably this is the right moment. You rightly said that we don't have, but this is the right moment that there will be an opportunity. Yes, somebody has to take that risk. Somebody has to bring in that risk capital to do this. And I would say I'm in catalyst. I will get my partners along out over here to help you co-build. Okay. It depends on the business model, that how we resonate across. Sometimes we are able to bring the entire team under one roof. It's not easy. Okay. But that's what we are here for. We bring our partners with existing IPs. So bring couple of partners with couple of IPs, and we can help co-create. And this could be a catalyst effect. And this is one of the major impact what we can have building an innovation capability.
So has there been one built yet? Is there an ICC that's been built yet here in Singapore?
I don't think so. Okay. I don't think so.
Where do you have a time frame when you are looking to be able to achieve this, to build the first ICC here?
So we are already doing it for a client, for a 15-member team
15
in Singapore. Okay, we are talking to a client where we are building an analog team. We are still talking to them.
So these are things, so you have one client that's ongoing.
One is ongoing. One we are talking to build a 10-member analog team.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you don't mind me asking, what are the metrics that you're tracking? Schedule adherence or tape out success rate or DPPM defects or model performance?
So if you look at it, with the organizations, how the organization wants to work across with us, So in the current phase, we are not working the GD for the end for the tape out.
Okay.
We are just working on the design phase.
Okay.
That we are just helping them to build across the IP.
So, I mean, talking about the IP, I mean, you have three fundamentals here. You have the reliability, you have the security, and you have the compliance. So how is Boltchip going to handle IP protection, multi-tenant isolation, export control sensitivity is another one, and of course the auditability of your customers?
See, now the great good part of with respect to Boltchip is we are working there as an internal team. Okay. We are not just trying to be out of the system of that. That's the reason I said we are talking about the digital twin. The most non-negotiable part for us is the security part. Is in their sandbox that what we are creating. Right. You can say we can use the word either a co-brand, we can use a co-creation, or we can use that we just be a part of them building their IP. So these are the varied business models which are there, but it's the biggest differentiator is the transfer part of it, which we are ready from day one. We are not here just to build and operate and trying to take away something and go to the next client with that piece. This is for the client, built for the client, and it's absolutely transferred to the client. Yeah.
So the blueprint, if it works well here, what's your vision? Are you going to replicate this in Singapore, in India, in Malaysia, Vietnam, and the Philippines? Or are you just going to focus on Singapore?
So, my focus is Singapore, but you cannot deny the Malaysia and the India story.
Yeah.
So, and India has 20% of the world's design workforce currently. Yeah. So what I'm trying to, as I told you, that none of the silos can be particularly in one geography. Okay. If you want to take a cost arbitrage. But yes, the essence is that the team should be under one roof. Team is close to the foundry. That works very well. But there are certain components when you're building this entire IP. There are certain components which probably are non-core also. Okay. The testing part of it, which can be in a different location to get the cost advantage. But yes, we are open to, when we talk to clients, we talk to them that we help you build ICCs in Asia.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where do partnerships with the EDA, cloud, accelerator vendors come to play in this?
So currently, of course, my partnerships are more with my partners who have EDA partnerships.
Okay.
Currently. Okay, so with the Cadence and the Synopsys or the ARM, all those which are there. So being a platform, okay, I try to rope in what they are not able to do it more efficiently, okay, is bringing the right partner to them with their set of IPs and make a faster deployment. Yeah. So currently, my alliance is, I do not have a direct alliance with a Cadence or a Synopsys or a Mentor Graphics or with ARM, okay, but my partners have those alliances. Yeah.
So from an academia standpoint of view, are you going to be engaging with universities as well and agencies like IMEA Star, for example, to work on these type of initiatives?
So I feel so basically, if you look at the entire ecosystem, when you say the government is the EDB or the MDA, you have the organizations, you have the professionals, and you have the academia. I think that entire ecosystem, we have to work together. Yeah.
Okay. From your perspective then, I'd be intrigued to understand from your side is when you're looking at these the the first ICC that you're working on, or the first project? What's your outcome for this? What's your vision, ideal outcome for it to? Of course, success is success, but if you could give us an understanding of being able to say, right, this is a genuine case study and I've achieved X, Y, and Z. So I'd be intrigued to know what would be the achievement on that initiative.
So the achievement is, one of the is the talent is not available. Okay. So probably you have to rope in talents. So that's a challenge that you're committed, so you need to get the talent on the table.
Yeah.
So that's the first commitment. That becomes an achievement when it's been done. So you need to liaise with the EDBs, you need to liaise with so you're liaising with the EDB, you're liaising with the MOM, that why. Okay. There's a dirt shortage. Okay. So that is not an issue. The government is very collaborative, especially in these areas, not much more challenges. Of course, you need to be genuine. You need to work with the right people. So this is the first biggest challenge, is to commit and to deliver basically the pool which is required. So first is the bringing the right pool onto with the organization. Okay, the right pool, then they can be onboarded. So you need to get them out over here and get down the table. And the third comes the KPI types of the attrition part of it. You want stable teams around. And this is one very important factor when you're building an IP or you're building any innovation hub. You don't want to lose talent in the middle.
Yeah.
And that, being from an industry and being work across this entire set of geography, these are one set of KPIs what we are working with the clients together. And that brings in a lot of efficiency. Yeah, at the end of the day. And that is probably the success,
The efficiency.
Yeah.
Measured by?
So measured by the outcome, you can say.
Okay. 3 to 5 year inflections for you, Deven. I mean, what shifts do you see that could happen? I mean, you mentioned some stuff on the quantum computing stuff earlier, but you've got AI compute intensity, advanced packaging and chiplets, and sovereign capabilities, and you've got regulatory trends. Which one will most shape ICC design?
So I feel, if you look at it, quantum computing, like photonics, if you look at together, basically, because without photonics, it's not possible to transfer this data with that efficient power. Okay. So I feel that would be one big area, but big game changer. And those skill sets still are not available in this part of the world. Okay. So this could be a big game changer in the quantum phase. Of course, packaging is going, I don't know, it's 3D, 5D, how much slimmer it would be. Okay. And design is one very area which I call something design as something like creation. It's creativity. You envision something and you need to create. It's an ongoing process. So this is where I feel one of the biggest game changers will come across is that LLMs on ASICs, on specific healthcare, specific consumer driven. These are the big areas. I feel healthcare, there will be a lot of developments of LLM coming on ASIC. So these are the changes what I see across in coming years of time. Yeah.
Deven, what's your advice to leaders deciding between in-house labs, vendor services, or an ICC partnership? Like, how should they weigh speed, control, and risk?
A very great question. So I would say is, when you say third-party partnership, I look at two areas. If you look at core and non-core. Core should be an innovation capability center. For sure. This is your IP, your innovation, your understanding. Nobody understands you better. Okay. Non-core is probably you can outsource across. And that makes sense also because it's non-core. You're just using it. You're trying to build something which is an supplementary to you. That should be non-core. Now, when you look at an in-house word, probably is what as an ICC, what we are trying to do is we are trying to build their in-house teams only.
Yeah.
Okay. But to certain, the client is quite far off. Okay. And they don't have an idea, because what I've seen is most of the Europeans and the US clients, they say, oh, you are in Asia. I said, no, I am in Singapore. So earlier the problem is we are in Malaysia. I said, there's a lot of difference with Malaysia and India. Japan is so different. It's so multiple gods, multiple currencies, multiple cultures. In India, 200 kilometers somewhere, sometime earlier part, we used to travel to the south. We were foreigners because we never knew the language, the local language. Yeah. So that's so diverse. So for them to give them a cost arbitrage is a big thing. To create an hub and spoke model, to create something in X place and create something in Y place, there should be an understanding. So these are very, very crucial when you want to develop something, okay, and then you want to transfer. The transfer is a very important element, because you build something, then you don't want to lose something. So from day one, what we are telling the client is that we are building, operating it, and transforming to transfer it to you. So we are creating a digital twin. We are creating an internal team for you. We are trying to build the same kind of culture, because I come from that mindset. I never gave them something because that person was available.
I see.
And when you work in 12 geographies, morning you're working on Japan, evening you're working on China, and you are based in Singapore, okay, you need to transient yourself. It takes years to get into. This culture nuance is very, very important, because you're not offshoring something. What I want the clients to build an ICC, where an ICC professional working in the organization says, I'm a part of you. And there are no ways out for an organization to do this, because the focus is on Asia, because it's not just the availability of talent. The market is out over here also. 40 to 50% of the population is between 4 countries, And
this ASEAN region, I think in the next 5 years or something like that, when they...
That can be that people talk about, that US, China, India and ASEAN as an economy. Okay. Getting across, it's like 10 nations. It's like 2 hands, you're converting them into one fist. It's not an easy thing. Okay. It's not easy within a country to create, because suddenly the political situation changes. So it's difficult. These are 10 different countries with 10 different gods and 10 different currencies, But probability and the countries with the very varied kind of cultures, If you see currently, if you look at it, it's Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, and to some extent Philippines has the kind of ecosystem out there. Indonesia is picking up.
Deven, this has been a remarkable discussion. Thank you for your insights. We're going to play a final game.
Sure.
It's called the rapid fire round, where I'm going to ask you some questions and you need to answer back as fast as you can in a very short way. Ready?
Great.
Ready? Deven, what was your first ever job and what did it teach you about leadership?
So I've just worked for 3 months in my life. So I've been an entrepreneur the rest of my life for 3 months. 3 months, the job taught me about it, that basically if you need to create something, okay, you need to take an action. You need to jump onto something. And probably there would be so many hurdles on the way. So for my first prototype to build, it took 1 year. So I firstly believe that you need to dare to dream first. You need to vision out something before building out something. You need to take a risk. Yeah.
What inspired you to build your first company in automation?
So there are 2 choices for me. I had an US admissions to do my master's, or be in India and as an entrepreneur, So I always had that kind of thing, that I should be able to employ as much as possible people, okay, and give employment. So that was a notion in me, that was a passion to build a company so people can work. So to give employment was the kind of thing during those days when I completed my engineering, yeah.
If you weren't in tech or semiconductors, what field would have you chosen?
I think so. Design.
Design what?
So IC design.
But what if you weren't? If you weren't in semiconductors, yeah. If you were not in semiconductors, what field would you have chosen?
If I was not in semiconductors,
Or tech.
So probably Boltchip, I will make it as Bolt.
Yeah.
And I'll make it agnostic to all industries. I'll create ICC capability centers for all industries. Could be the financial services, could be the kind of thing. Because every industry has the kind of challenge.
Yeah.
And every industry needs kind of innovation. The innovation is moving at a brisk rate now. Yeah. And the entire ecosystem is, I told you as earlier, that government, when the government comes into it, that it fires.
Yeah. Define innovation in one word.
Sorry?
Define innovation in one word.
So innovation, I feel, is creating a differentiator to build the efficiency.
The boldest risk you ever taken in business?
So not only a 3 months job. So always I ask myself, I should have worked for somebody, learned something. Okay. But probably that's the boldest risk I've taken. Get into action, fall down, stand up again, so you'll never fall again. Yeah.
What's the most underestimated skill for entrepreneurs today?
Risk-taking abilities.
Mm-hmm. That's a fair one. Which startup or technology trend excites you the most right now?
So for me, when I look at semiconductor, I feel design is, if you look at the efficiency in design, okay, that's very, very crucial, because nothing is on the table and then you bring in something which helps into creation something, and then comes the foundry, then comes the ATMP, then comes the OSAT kind of thing. So it starts with design, yeah.
How do you decide whether to build, buy, or partner?
So any one choice, whether I decide to build or buy or
partner.
Okay. I think if I have a vision in the industry, okay, then I would say it's better to buy something rather than building something from scratch. Okay. The reason behind this goes, that you have a partner already with you who shares the same kind of vision. So then whatever you have built, it becomes bigger.
In one line, what makes Boltchip different? One line.
So Boltchip is you can say is an orchestrator of bringing all elements onto one platform, orchestrate for design, for engineering, for, when you say design, it's creation of IP. So we bring in partners with the same vision to deliver an outcome.
Okay. Singapore or India? Which ecosystem, semiconductor ecosystem, is moving faster in innovation?
So Singapore ecosystem is already matured. Okay, so if you break down in two parts of it, India has 20% of design workforce. But the fab part of it, there are 2 fabs coming in Singapore, in India, and 8 assembly, testing and packaging units coming. So that's the current ecosystem. Now, if you look at it, Singapore ecosystem is already matured. Minus this design phase, minus the creation of IPs, Probably, you can say the best ecosystem could be if you merge both of them.
Yep.
Everybody gets the E of what kind of thing, I think Singapore ecosystem is missing the design parts of it. India, which is currently developing, if this ecosystem of Singapore is there, the foundry and the OSAT, then it works across. But for a success for a nation is, if you have the entire downstream, upstream, midstream and downstream, then you are building an entire ecosystem, else not.
What's the best advice you've ever received from a mentor?
So you receive a lot of advices in your life, and sometimes it changes with respect to your kind of time, But one of the advice in terms of the spirituality part which it comes across is accept the outcomes. Okay, put in your best and accept the results.
Yeah. Fair. How do you recharge after a long week?
So I'm a bit of a sporty person, so like I try to engage myself in practically one or the other kind of sports. Okay, so it's Sunday, it's cycling.
Mm-hmm.
It's a combination of either a gym or yoga and swim. There's walk, there's pickleball,
Mm-hmm.
there's table tennis. So I try to manage across, in terms of burn enough calories. And so that's my way of kind of rejuvenating. Of course, spirituality part of is I listen to spiritual discourses and have my prayers.
Very good, very good. If you could open a new ICC anywhere in the world tomorrow, where would it be?
It's a great question. I would look upon in terms of cost arbitrage. That's what my advice to clients is. Never lay down the eggs in one particular kind of location. It should
But if you could choose one place tomorrow, if you could pick any country and they said to you, Deven, here, open an ICC for us here, which one would it be? Which country would you choose?
It depends what the outcome they want. Okay. So that's very important, It's the design, or they're looking into an engineering kind of solution. Okay.
So the region doesn't matter. It's just based on the traits of the client.
I'll tell you what's the missing component today is, people go where the talent is.
Yeah. So the Bay Area would be a good shout then.
You don't know tomorrow, the world will change across in a couple of years of time. You don't know, typically how things will change.
If you could collaborate with any company tomorrow, who would it be?
It's a wider question in terms of,
You have to choose just one company.
So if I don't give the name of the company, I would look upon it something that I would tie up with somebody which is the most innovative company.
Okay.
So innovation is very important for me because I started my career with innovation. So always innovation is one thing which I always look forward to.
Finish the sentence. Purpose means
achieving something without hurting others.
And then finish the sentence. At the end of it all, I want to be remembered as.
At the end of the?
At the end of it all, I want to be remembered as.
So, I don't want to leave a legacy behind because if you look at it, from a spiritual point of view, that you build an intent and a fusion of new life comes into place. And this has been happening since years, So my objective is now typically the ultimate goal, towards moksha. So probably you don't want to have intents only that you want to take a rebirth back to earth. Yeah. So because it's endless in terms of the greed, the aspect which we discussed earlier also in terms of anger, deceit. So you want to be away with this kind of worldly mood. So probably it's more temporary. Whatever we are trying to achieve is not permanent. It doesn't give you permanent kind of happiness, But yes, today if you see why I'm trying to build Boltchip or why I'm trying to, is because of my intent of my previous life is getting me out over here. So I want to fulfill that without that probably I try to maintain with, I try to balance out the kind of thing, my relationships with the counterparts in terms of, as I mentioned, not hurting others, not right from the thought process to the words to the action, as much as I remain calm and neutral. Yeah.
Deven, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on this show. I really wish you all the best, and really looking forward to seeing Boltchip really make a true impact in this industry and Who knows? Maybe I can ask you that question again, which country you would choose, and you'd have them all over the place. One of these ICCs one day. So, yeah, and I really wish you all the best and all the success, and stay strong. It is not an easy task to work the entrepreneurship world.
So I've been an entrepreneur for most of my life, so expect the unexpected and take it. This was the best outcome. Okay. And thanks, Salah. And it's an honor and always a pleasure to be with you. And we wish you, in terms of success, in terms of health, and in terms of your podcast, that whatever the viewers are there becomes your subscribers. And probably these messages goes with the professionals you're bringing in, and with the way you are involving them to get the most out of this industry, can help few of them to become entrepreneurs or make them successful entrepreneurs, and to build great innovative companies and build a better world.
Yeah. That's what I want to see, Boltchip, and be part of the story. So yeah, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on the Semiconductor Leadership Podcast. As they say, it takes a village to raise a chip. So it takes subscribers to raise a podcast. So if you enjoyed this episode, subscribe to the show, click share, like, and comment. For all of you who want to get in contact as well with Deven, you can contact him here on his LinkedIn profile. It should pop up just below me right here. And you can reach out to him directly to discuss anything further from what you learned on the podcast. Other than that, thank you for joining us. Take care and see you at the next episode. Bye for now.